It's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question.
President Trump welcomed the Saudi crown prince to the White House, and he got his own taste of what the fake news is all about. Mohammed bin Salman now knows what we have to deal with. I love the First Amendment. It's actually one of my favorite amendments that the founders put in there. But sometimes, man, these reporters just need to be censored. You have an important meeting between the President of the United States and this foreign leader from this rich country with hundreds of billions of dollars in his sovereign wealth fund, and we desperately need him to up his investments in America, and you have our reporters just treating him anyhow. Trump is trying to suck their sovereign wealth fund dry, and they have absolutely no decorum. But today I think Trump dealt with them. He was their massa today. He brought out the whip. Come here, boy.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest?
These questions annoy me so much. The Trump Organization is a multinational company. They've been doing business everywhere for decades. The Gulf states in the Middle East are emerging markets. Of course they're doing business there. Is it appropriate? You frickin' brokies have never created a business in your lives. Of course you don't know how this works.
And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office.
Who are you with?
Why should Americans trust
Who are you with?
And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the
But the
worst.
question is
One of the
legitimate,
worst
sir.
in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Just ask Mr. President, you allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about the families of 9/11 in America, but we have to focus on reality. Reality, based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents, that Osama bin Laden used Saudi people at that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of this.
I know Trump's just sitting there like, I know you did it. But even if you did, we still need that money into this country. What happened to the left on respecting other countries' cultures? That reporter probably ran his mouth, and Saudi Arabia does what Saudi Arabia does. We're shameless over here. We still need their money. Saudi Arabia doesn't have the First Amendment, and they don't pretend to. They're a very intolerant society, and they don't try to tell us otherwise. So why are we surprised? Why aren't they asking about the $1 trillion he's committing to investing in the United States? This economy needs those hundreds of billions. We need to bring back manufacturing, and these kinds of investments are quintessential. Here's another rock star takedown of the fake press.
Mr. President,
I don't know if that number's right, but it's pretty.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman here. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is
Oof, that was a good response. I love how he cooks them, and then he's like, all right, I'll answer your question, though. And if these reporters had any honesty, they would be reporting on this moment where the Saudi crown prince committed to investing $1 trillion in the U.S. economy in these next few years.
Today and tomorrow we're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment, real investment and real opportunity by details in many areas. And the agreement that we are signing today in many areas in technology, in AI, in earth materials, magnet, etc., that will create a lot of investment opportunities.
So you are doing that now. You're saying to me now that the 600 billion will be 1 trillion.
Definitely, because what we are signing to facilitate that,
I like that word. No, that's great. I appreciate that. That's great. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever done.
$1 trillion, ladies and gentlemen, in the U.S. economy. That's almost 3% of our national debt. I saw this dork, Aaron Rupert, saying the entire GDP of Saudi Arabia is 1.1 trillion. So yeah, this isn't happening. GDP is the measure of economic activity in a country. It's the total value of all the products and services created in a country over the course of a year or however long the relevant timeline is. To the naked eye, it might sound like Saudi Arabia is putting up the worth of their entire economy into the United States, but their wealth fund alone almost adds to $1 trillion. Plus, it's not like the investment will happen in 1 year. It's going to happen in the next 3 years. And they've already put up a lot of money. When you see these billion-dollar data plants getting announced, Saudi Arabia is almost always a huge financier. They're buying up American assets at record pace. That's what it means for a state like Saudi Arabia to invest in the U.S. economy. It doesn't mean they're going to be building factories themselves, but they're going to be partnering with American companies to do so. In fact, it's already happening.
Romel.
Yes, sir.
David, could you say a few words about what you're seeing on the job front and all of the some of the assets, and also how we've been helped by the Saudis in terms of the kind of investment they've made, please?
Yeah, most certainly. Thank you for the opportunity. I am a facility leader for GE Vernova, and if you look at the landscape for GE Vernova investment, over $750 million in the U.S. focused on true manufacturing jobs here stateside. We're looking at tripling the output of our Greenville, South Carolina facility, where we make the gas turbines that are supporting U.S. needs as well as the Saudi Arabia needs.
Right.
So real jobs, $300 million in gas investment, resulting in over 500 pieces of new equipment being installed in the Greenville, South Carolina facility. That translates into roughly 1,800 jobs across the board for GE Vernova as we try to scale capacity to be able to meet this demand. Along with that, we're partnering with local communities to build the skill set that's required to meet these capacity needs.
Yes! Yes! No H-1Bs. None of this, oh, we're going to fly them in and then train Americans that Trump's been saying. Train the Americans here. Yes, that's what I wanted to hear. Yes! Oh, man, I'm giddy about that.
So that talent pipeline is incredibly important. So it's real jobs in the manufacturing space.
Well, you've been great, and thank you very much. And we love that state. I won that state by record numbers.
You know, if we had some real reporters in there, they'd be asking questions that mattered to the American people. And not, what about the reporter? What about this? What about that? How about, hey, Greenville guy, how many people have you hired so far since the Saudi committed $750 million in your plant? What's the impact for the city? Are their tax revenues increasing? Which markets do you sell to right now? And which ones are you having difficulties with? And if so, Mr. President, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to make sure we get trade routes into those countries? And if we can't, are you going to triple the tariffs on them? Those are questions Americans would like to hear from the journalist. Thank you all very much for watching. God bless and goodbye.